So there's just 6 of us today. As you know, we're trying to expand beyond this. I mean, I had a network in New York called the Marketing Network that was at most 15 people. On average, we would have like, I don't know, 6 to 10 people at a particular meeting, and it was very productive. So small doesn't mean that it can't be a good way to connect with people and build relationships and generate leads and opportunities. I just found a great opportunity, I believe, for Rajiv, and with a PR crisis consulting guy out in California, who says he needs somebody to do just what Rajiv does: assassinate bad information on the web, and also people to generate what he calls, recreate websites, because oftentimes it's a breakup of a partnership that had a website, and now each partner needs their own. And also what he calls truth sites, which if somebody is scandalized, they want to have their version of the story, and usually it's sponsored. They pay to advertise, if somebody does a search on, John Parsons felon, or John Parsons lawsuit, or Lori Karpman, murderer, that Lori can tell her story.
Don't get on my bad side.
Look at Michael bring the funny. Look at Michael bring the funny.
Bring the funny. All right. So we do not have guests today, surprisingly. I've been inviting a lot of people. But thank you all for joining. You all know, I guess I don't have to pitch the reason we're here, since you're all members. So Lynn, I'm sorry, I was thinking about Lynn Lavender today. I just introduced her to somebody, but Lynn Donaldson is going to talk about the 3 Ps of product launch. I'm going to add my timer. And I think today we'll have some time to do some other discussions. Whoops, sorry. So I was going to put my timer on before you shared. Let me see if I can do that. Apps. That's all right. Timer. Put it on 15. Okay, take it away. Feel free to share.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Today, I just wanted to explain what I actually do, because it's a little bit different sometimes from what people expect. And Laurie, I don't think I've met you before. Hold on a second. So
Lynn, I think you're sharing the wrong screen. So I think if you minimize this,
There you go.
the full
No.
version, yeah.
Sorry.
Can you go to presentation mode? And then you may need to do something after you do that. Hit that.
Yeah.
And then,
It's okay. I'll just do it.
You have to hit slideshow and then from the beginning. So go to slideshow on the top. On the top bar, there's slideshow. Right next to animations. Up. Keep going up. Okay. Up. Yeah. There you see slideshow. Click that. Okay. And now click play from start.
That's what I was
yeah,
doing.
but it still gives you in that
That's
mode.
bizarre.
Yeah,
No, it's
Weird.
It's a link. It's a Zoom thing.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just get rid of this and make these bigger. Oops. Interesting. It's all good fun. You make the slide bigger and get rid of this at the side. Okay. So you can all see my slides, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Lynn Donaldson from Connect, a Strategic Solutions Group, and I work in pharmaceutical and medical devices. In pharmaceutical, that looks like this. This is a product launch, or sorry, how a product gets from discovery to launch. It goes through a number of trials over 7 to 8 years. The first trial is the preclinical, where they do work in test tubes, and it's they're working on models and things like that. And then phase 1 is proof of concept, and they actually trial the drug in human volunteers like you and me, who are normally healthy. Then it goes to phase 2, which is a small number of patients who actually have the condition and have need for the product. Then it goes into phase 3 with a larger number of patients who have the condition, and this can cost tens of thousands of dollars. All this, they're gathering data to get FDA approval. They cannot, under any circumstances, promote the product until they have FDA approval. Once they have FDA approval, they can launch. Where we come in is the 3 to 4 years prior to launch. We start working with the medical directors, medical affairs directors, because in early development phase here, it's still in clinical. Once it starts going into phase 3, it goes into the medical directors, the medical affairs people, and the medical affairs people start working on the product, getting the data out, getting the information out, educating people on the condition. Again, they cannot promote the product. So they start doing publications, they start going to conferences, and this is going to be relevant in a minute about the 3 Ps. They go to conferences, they talk to their peers at their level, and they start telling them about why specific products in this area are valuable. They also start looking for key opinion leaders, which are people who can endorse their product. They may be investigators working here, phase 2, phase 3. They're already gathering information on the product as it's going through trials, so they can be good advocates. Okay, I'll move on because we're looking at time. But did you know that 67% of new product devices, medical devices, and 20% of drugs actually fail to hit their sales targets at launch? They actually fail at launch now. When that happens, heads roll. A lot of heads, and it's usually the marketing and the medical person whose heads rolls. So we have the framework of helping these people as they're going through product launch, and it's the 3 Ps of product launch. The people, creating leaders with high performing teams with a growth mindset and a resilience to face the challenges, because as you're going through a product launch, it can be brutal. It can be, everything can pop up to get in the way. And I'll explain again some of these things in a minute, but it can be really hard on the leaders. So keeping them at a high mindset allows them to stay resilient, but also lead their teams. The product side is product launch strategy. We help them with their vision, their goals, and then develop the winning strategy to exceed sales targets at launch. And my team go in and work very closely with them. They've all launched products in their own right, and so they know what to say, when to do. You might want to think about doing this, the right order in which to do things. And then, of course, you've got process, which you've heard about, Lily launch tools that Rajiv and I developed together. And that was because as we were working on product launch strategy, we saw that people were using Excel sheets and other arduous tools. And my consultants, who are highly paid consultants because they're strategists, were being asked to do manual tasks of working in Excel charts. So we developed Lily Launch Tools, which integrates the strategy all into one, all in one place. It makes the process more streamlined and efficient. So I'm going to tell you a little story. During the pandemic, bearing in mind what people have to go through for a product launch, I was working with a smaller company. The pandemic had just happened and they were a year away from launch. They couldn't talk to anybody in their scientific medical community live. They couldn't talk to anybody apart from via Zoom. So we're all scrambling. Normally they go to conferences, they schmooze people, they chat to them on a scientific level. People are presenting data. None of that could happen. So I had to keep the team at a high peak performance while all this was going on. We were all struggling. Nobody knew what was going on. But then you're trying to launch a valuable product. And this was a critical product. It was the main product that was going to make or break the company. So I had to keep them at a high peak performance level. We worked on the strategy throughout the pandemic, but we did scenario planning. And it's a good job we did, because it's the what if. Scenario planning is the what ifs, and the what if happened. The FDA called a delay on the product launch because they'd got a product and a syringe that administered the product. All they'd given was data on the product, but they hadn't given data on the syringe because they'd used it on other products. So the FDA called a delay. That was devastating for the teams. So again, I had to work with the leadership team at a high peak performance level to keep them going. But fortunately, my team had worked on the strategy, so we just picked it off the shelf and allowed them to take the strategy going forward. So that was the scenario planning, was the process that we adopted. They came to the table kicking and screaming. We don't want to do this. We don't know why we've got to do this. But when we had the strategies all worked out, if this happens, we do that. If that happens, we do that. And they were able to pull it off the shelf. They were happy. Okay. Another person from the people, while this was also going on, there was one of the team, leadership team, had a HR challenge. One of the team was accusing her, and this is perhaps a bit too much detail, but accusing her of causing her to have a miscarriage, which caused her to have major triggers, this person, in her own life. And I was on a meeting with her, a leadership team group call, and she just dissolved. So her manager asked me to do one-to-one coaching with her, and we ended up addressing personal and professional challenges so that we could address the personal side that was causing her to have professional challenges. And we managed to get her moving forward, and she got a promotion, and she's since got a further promotion just from coaching. With the product, you've heard this one before. We helped one product. The product A here was supposed to be the blockbuster. It was supposed to be the one that secured the financial future for the company. But unfortunately, they didn't use us. And when it launched, it was way behind on sales targets. And the product we supported, which was just a dermatology product, it wasn't supposed to be a blockbuster, actually exceeded its sales targets by $1.3 billion. And then, of course, you've got Lily Launch Tools. From the process, we help companies with the process to actually streamline that content now. Because as they're working through their product strategy, we're pulling together the content as we go, pulling it together so that everybody can see line of sight on to what's actually happening. So I hope that shows you how the three things come together: the people side, the product side, and the process. The pandemic was a really good case study because we needed to make sure that that product launched successfully and as successfully as possible, given the challenge that everybody was facing. So that's what I wanted to share with you: what we do, why we do it, and what sort of things happen when we help our clients. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
John Parsons.
Yeah, you said at one point that the pandemic created havoc with the in-person meetings, which is normal. Is that still a case? Are they going hybrid? I mean, the pandemic is technically over. Is that still the case of having?
Go ahead, sorry.
That was the question.
They're hybrid now, but as soon as they could get out to people, they did, and they've had much more success. Because the thing is, you can talk to somebody for an hour over a coffee or half an hour over a coffee, just a chance meeting while you're at a conference. And that's what they rely on. Again, they're not promoting. I want to be very clear. They're not promoting. They are talking peer to peer, doctor to doctor. But they're hybrid now, and they get out as much as possible.
If I might, I wrote a book for someone who does these kinds of meetings for a living, and so about anyway. So would it be too forward for me to introduce you to this author, because his company actually handles hybrid really well, and that's their specialty actually. And he comes from the pharma and medical device industry. So they have managed very large scale meetings that are complex and require all kinds of different interactions. And if that's agreeable, I'd love to introduce you, because there's a good fit on subject matter, and they're kind of thought leaders in the hybrid market. And he's taught me to never say that a virtual meeting isn't live. Don't refer to on-site meetings as live, because you're all live unless it's recorded. So he said you have to refer to as on-site, virtual, or hybrid, but they're all live. And he has a very large team of producers who are sort of combination AV specialists and psychologists, coaches, because when things go wrong, which they always do, the producer has to go into, and they develop breakout rooms that are, they designate them as green rooms, where somebody has a technical problem, somebody has some kind of breakdown of any kind. They shuttle them into a breakout room in Zoom or Teams and work out the problem and test all the things. So the producers are constantly in motion while this expert panels and other things. So I'd love to make the introduction.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, John.
No work, no work.
John, I'd also be interested in speaking to that person, and I'll tell you why offline.
Sure.
Anybody else have any questions? I mean, Rajiv knows a lot of
I have
this.
a question.
Alan has a question.
I'm just really interested in your business model, and it's very niche-y. How did you well, I have a lot of different questions. Are you the only one doing this? And also, do you ever get out of the pharma or medical space? And also, how do you find your clients?
Okay, so do you mean, am I the only one doing this in my space, or am I the only one doing this in my company?
I guess I would say in your space.
We're the only one that provides the mindset. Other people provide the strategy and some tools, but we're the only one that provide the mindset portion of it. And I found that invaluable. With regard to, what was your second point?
What's my second question?
How do you find customers?
Yeah, how do you find your clients? Yeah.
Well, traditionally it's been by word of mouth, but we're actually now having to generate leads and go out and find people. But it was a lot, very much word of mouth.
Well, my other question was, would you ever consider doing this outside of the healthcare space?
Yes, because we have launch experts outside the healthcare space, but I know Rajiv also does launch planning, launch strategy. So, but yeah, and Lily Launch Tools is designed for the pharma industry, but it can be used for any other industry as well. So yes, we would. I have a lot of active consultants who have lots of different space expertise.
And then I just you don't have to tell me how much, but just curious, you go on a retainer basis?
Yeah, so some of our contracts, we work with them 1 or 2 days a week, and that's how our clients really like it, because we pull together the team. So we will work with them to say, right, this is the strategy, we'll start working on the strategy, then we'll start doing the planning with you. And we actually go into meetings with, right, this is what you need to talk about, this is your agenda, and this is what you need to do. And then we'll pull together at the end, right, next steps are this, this, and this. So one of our clients said, your consultants help me with what I don't know. So, and I've gotten to the end of my time. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. And I have I ever introduced you to Eric Malter? He does work for a lot of marketing work for a small pharma company called Exceltis.
No.
Okay. And then there's somebody else who does, she used to focus on launch in the fintech world. Lenore Cantor is her name. I'm not sure if she still focuses on launch, but might be a good contact for you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for that opportunity, because I wanted to explain what we do, because just saying we do product launch is kind of like, so that's why I wanted to use examples. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. So we certainly have plenty of time, but I want to make sure that we also provide some time for one, if there are successes that you want to talk about, any leads or referrals that you want to highlight, any of your anything going on in your business. So why don't we just start with the basic round table, and we will go more or less in the order in which folks showed up, excluding, I guess, Lynn, since she's already gone for 15 minutes. But so it would be John, Lori, Rajiv, and then Alan, and then I will go. And that's now up on the chat.
Actually, Lori was first, so.
No,
Whatever.
I don't think so. You were there before me, but it's fine. This order is fine.
Okay.
All right, and I will go. Why don't we make it 2 minutes? We won't hold people to too strict a timeline. But where's my little timer here? Apps. I'll make it There's 5 of us. Why don't we make it 3 minutes, but you don't have to take it all up. If folks would go on mute, other than the speaker, I will put it in speaker mode so that the speaker stands out. John, you want to start?
Sure. Everybody has heard my pitch many times, so I'm not going to go into huge detail. I had a discussion. I'm a ghostwriter who also is involved in video production. And when I talk to people about our videos, we're doing an increasing number of book trailers. So I'm tempted to say, if you have a book you want written, talk to me. If you have a book you want promoted, talk to my guys. But I'm always tempted to say, and other kinds of videos. And one of my producers says, you know, you won't lose people by just talking about book trailers. You know, it's okay not to. I have this urge to say, and we also do. But we just finished a really fun book trailer that I'd like to share. If I have the ability,
I think you should
share sound.
Just make sure you share sound. Yeah.
Optimize for video clip. Yes.
Sure.
And I'm going to share one we just finished.
Managing a business is hard. Too often we take the easy route of ad hoc rules and optimistic assumptions that our people will just get the work done. When this is the case, managers end up playing the roles of hall monitor and firefighter. Chaos, mistrust, and inefficiency corrode your business's culture. Hi, I'm Andy Tempty. Over the past 35 years, I've learned a lot about business leadership, and I'd like to share those lessons with you. In my new book, I deliver the foundation upon which I would build any new business venture to maximize the likelihood of long-term organizational success. Ask yourself, how do I create an effective, sustainable management operating system? How do I design smooth workflows to better serve the customer? How do I balance organizational trust with accountability to build a winning corporate culture? My new book, The Balanced Business, describes the practical, step-by-step process you need to answer these questions. Order your copy today wherever books are sold.
Good example.
That was fun. It was a fun project, and it pushed us on the animation side because we didn't want to explain everything that the book teaches, but ask the questions that people are asking in 90 seconds, and put humor into it because the failures were part of the gag.
And how has, I guess it's only been out for 7 days or something less, right? It's at October 3rd.
Yeah. Well, it was available for pre-order, and the publisher Amplify has all that control. We provide the content, and they key it with SEO and put it in social. We divide up some videos into. We created a short version of this one for social, and that's part of a package we usually do is a long video and an X number of short clips that we clips or adaptations.
And how does a publisher, I mean, I assume this makes their job a lot easier.
Well, they have to create a set of content for the launch and for all they're paid. They have a marketing division who we work for, to put together, and we're one of the, well, actually I've written blogs and posts for their content division, but this is relatively new, doing book trailers for their new releases. So
publishers are a good lead for you.
Yeah, a good lead would be a book publicist. If you want to write a book, I'd like to say, call me and I'll help you write a book. If you want to promote it, so publicists, book coaches, publishers who take an interest in marketing, because not many do. Not the big publishers could care less. They say hire your own publicist. So we're networking with a lot of small to medium-sized publicists, people who your publishing agent, basically. Okay. Those are ideal because they're trying to feed the beast, the social media beast.
Wonderful. All right, thank you. Okay, Lori Karpman, take it away.
Yeah, quick. Sorry, John, can I have your email, please? I have a connection for you for a publisher.
I will drop my stuff in the chat in a minute.
Nice. So I'm Lori Karpman. I am a recovering attorney and a professional copywriter. So I've been writing since I was 9. I started a school newspaper in grade 4, and I've been writing ever since. In fact, it's why I became a lawyer, because the skills are writing and speaking, and those are my 2 favorite things to do, or to write and to public speak. So that's why I went into law. I practiced franchise law for about 38 years. I did corporate commercial and franchise law. And I've been in the franchise industry as well for about 35 years. So that's really the industry that I know. In terms of my copywriting business, I write anything for businesses. So I will write websites, blogs, brochures, email campaigns, video scripts, landing pages, sales pages, anything that a business would need, any kind of marketing or copy that a business needs to convert. So that's what I do. And I'm looking to connect with either people who have clients that need copy, or with people who are in the digital marketing space, because they often will do the graphics and they'll do the design, and they may do website design, but they don't typically provide all the copy. And so they farm out the copy to people like me. And it now, in a couple of cases with webmasters that I work with, it now gives them the ability to say that they're full service, because now they do the copy as well as the design. So those are really good connections for me. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
So web design companies, web production companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the term webmaster, by the way, typically describes somebody who doesn't build but maintains, or maintains
Oh, really?
the
Oh, good to
copy,
know.
or maintains the technical side of it, but doesn't necessarily build it.
Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. And you hail from Toronto, not Toronto, from Montreal.
Montreal, yes.
And by the way, you can always get any of the members who are members. You can get all of their contact information from just going to their listing on the site. If you can't find their listing because you don't know their company name, so in John Parsons' case, it is Into Ideas. You can go log in and you could do a search on members. So you could look up John Parsons. Okay, let's move on. Ron Hubsher joined us. Thank you for joining. Rajiv, you're up next. Take it away.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity, Michael. Nice to meet you all. As you can see from my Zoom background, I'm the friendly neighborhood assassin. What I do is I manage things that need to be handled. And specifically, I'm talking about anything to do with scandal or anything bad. So essentially, the tagline for my company, R Square Media, is be seen or not be seen. Be seen is helping you to be seen prominently on the internet, which includes positioning you as a thought leader, as a subject matter expert, including product launch. And on the flip side of that, we erase scandal and erase anything bad from the internet. So here's a startling fact. 50% of reviews that you see online are false because the person posting the review is reviewing the wrong business. 50%, half the reviews. 25% of bad reviews that you see online are posted by douchebag competitors. Yes, 25%. So this means that if you do the math, 50 plus 25 is 75. So that means 75% of bad reviews you just can't trust. And that is completely damaging to your business to the extent of 15 to 50,000 in lost revenue for customer lost. So if you leave your reviews unattended and just choose to bury your head in the sand, chances are you're going to be losing sales in droves from that frequency. $15,000 to $50,000 per customer loss is what businesses typically lose on an annual basis. Fixing that is something that we are expert in. We have broadly 2 strategies for fixing it: erasing it, which we call bazooka, and suppressing it, which we call relocation. The clue is in the name. We also have another service called Forcefield, which essentially insulates clients and brands around future threats on Google. So essentially what happens is if there's somebody, alleges that you did something bad, if you have Forcefield working for you, when that story drops, it won't land on page 1, it'll land on page 2 or page 3, depending on how far out that Forcefield has been built for. So that's the benefit of Forcefield. A bulk of my business comes from agency partners who white label my business. So love to have conversations with all of you to kind of explore that. I love it because it's a win-win-win relationship. You get paid, I get paid, the client gets taken care of. And that's something that we do both on an ongoing and lump sum basis. So if it's a bazooka deal where we need to delete stuff, that's typically lump sum. If it's a Forcefield or relocation deal, that's a monthly retainer. You get paid on a monthly basis. So that's basically how it works. And that's for the life of the project. And we just like to keep it real simple. And it's really easy to understand and easy to remember. Yeah. So I'll leave it there. Thank you all for your attention. And I would love to learn what you do.
Thank you very much, Rajiv. Okay, moving on. Next is Alan. Yes, Alan Winnikoff.
Yep. Hi. Hi, everybody. So it's nice to be here. We are in our 20th year as a public relations firm. We actually started in 2003. I have people working for me that were barely born when we started. We, of course, started as a traditional PR firm, earned media in newspapers, magazines, TV shows. And the business, obviously, the world has changed so dramatically in those 20 years. At a certain point, I realized that social media had now become half or more of our business. So we offer clients turnkey social media campaigns across all platforms. We do paid content. And we've really become a full services marketing agency. If we don't do it, we have trusted partners who do, which is one of the reasons why I'm on in Michael's group, because we look for those partners that we can bring in. It could be anything from designers, SEO, video content creation. It really just, whatever you can think of under marketing, you want to make sure clients know that, like I said, if we don't do it, we'll bring in a partner that we have total faith in that will excel. So that is kind of the core of our business. We work primarily, well, I wouldn't even say primarily anymore. We started out as a media and entertainment company. We still do a lot of that, but we're generalists, represent attorneys. We have a healthcare client that we've worked with for several years. It's really anything that you can think of that needs PR or marketing, we can most likely do, with the exception of fashion and finance, because those are very specific industries that we just don't get involved in. I would like to just point out, how much time do I have, that networking is about paying forward. And I think that's a really important thing to remember as we all get together here. I'll give you an example. Matthew Aspel, who is an attorney, an IP attorney, who's a member of Michael's group. He and I connected through Trusted Referral Network. He has talked about hiring us to promote one or more of his cases. But in the meantime, I got him onto a panel to talk about AI and IP. And he is actually having me on his podcast this coming Friday. And that's what networking is about. It's not about what are you giving me. It's about paying it forward and then seeing how it comes back. And I think that's a perfect example of that. And I think it's something we should all remember.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much for that reminder. And thank you for your presentation or your introduction. And Ron Hubsher, take it away.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And it's hard to follow the assassin and Alan. So it's a tough spot. Anyway, I'm Ron Hubsher. I run a negotiation training company. So we help companies grow their top line, command price premiums, make more money, and have more free time if you're a solo entrepreneur. And everyone's always looking to have some more free time and a little more time on the weekend. And by the way, if anybody here needs any help on negotiating a deal or closing a deal, happy to give pro bono advice to the network. And a big thank you to Michael as well for all he does, the tireless amount of work he does. On the positive side, not the positive side, but we actually just had my book closing time. We have a new version coming out. We released the Audible version, so that just went live October 3rd. So on the fun, exciting things, you can download it. We used to give away free copies of everything. I think Audible owns the right. I own the rights, but it goes through Audible, so I can't give everyone free ones. But I think it's $5 or $6 to download. Probably a good investment of your time if you want. And I'll be raking in the money, whatever that is, $3 a copy. I'll be like, making it rain. So that's all that's going on. And then I had a favor to ask. We own all the rights to the book, and we never released the book to the public because it's a lead generator for us. So you got to go to our website and buy the book from us. And if someone bought the book, I'd be like, okay, that's a great lead. And then there started being a gray market because there's so many books out in the market that someone went on Amazon and said, hey, you can buy a used version, or they claim a new version. And so with a new release, I wanted to list it on Amazon as us, the seller and the manufacturer. I'm just having the hardest time just getting it listed. Not huge, but if anybody knows anybody who knows anything about listing on Amazon, I'd be grateful.
Yeah, I can help you with that, Ron.
Okay. I appreciate it. And a big thank you to the assassin. He turned me on to this thing called the Venture Network, which looks like a pretty cool thing that everyone may be interested in.
Share.
And John also been very helpful. So
you have a little bit of time if you want to share, or if Rajiv, you want to share about the Venture Network.
Yeah, so basically this is a network that Lynn and I are part of. It's called Venture Starters. The Venture Starters is what's shaping up to be the largest group of founders as well as VCs and angels that get together every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern and it's essentially a pitch night without you sharing any screens. It's an oral pitch similar to what we do here at TRN. And it's basically you get about 90 seconds to pitch your product, and you sometimes get Q&As from the audience. The Q&As are either from angels or VCs or other founders. And the purpose is to essentially understand what it is that you're looking to do and make connections and recommendations and referrals based on who you're looking to meet. Either the use cases are either capital raising or product adoption. So it's basically about it.
Nice. And do you want to put the link in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah, it's venturestarters.com, but yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
All right. Good. So I didn't miss anybody, right? Then I will go. So as you know, my name is Michael Bendit. My core business is I represent software development teams. And what does that mean? I'm a matchmaker for software development teams who have a specific set of skills, the platforms they know, the types of builds they do. It's mostly on the web, so it's content management systems. Think of WordPress or Drupal. It's e-commerce systems, the biggest of which is now Shopify, but there's also Magento and others. BigCommerce is another one. And then there's mobile applications, which can be delivered in multiple ways. There's mobile web, there's of course mobile native, so you have an app. And my job is to drum up opportunities for the dozen or so teams that I represent. My best leads are, in fact, digital marketing agencies that have repeat business, but don't always have the resources in-house to do the work, to build the sites. There's a whole host of other things one does in the digital marketing space, as you all know, since most of us are in that space, whether it be SEO or video or PR or whatever. But having a team that's available to build a site and do programming, it's a very niche capability, and not all marketing companies or agencies want to have that in-house. They'd like to outsource it. So those are great leads for me. I'm also doing some outreach right now on LinkedIn, which is working quite well. I just got a lead from a crisis PR person out in LA who said he needs somebody to do what Rajiv does, and also to build websites and what he calls truth sites. And I was talking about this earlier for his clients. So hopefully that will turn into something for both Rajiv and I. And to Alan's point, I'm always trying to introduce people to others who may not be clients, but have similar or adjacent offerings. We could always think of people who do that sort of thing. So Ron Hubsher, do you know Henning Schwinnem?
No.
All right. So he does, he runs a agency that places fractional sales leaders.
Okay.
And he used to be in the group, but I think he'd be a good contact for you. So, and the other thing I'll let people know is and I'm going to share my screen briefly. I rarely share this screen, but as you can see, I take pretty detailed notes
Wow.
on Evernote. And you might want to consider this practice because it enables me to do things like search back and find people that I vaguely remember when a thought is triggered. And I'll give you an example. I was looking for a woman who I met a woman yesterday or 2 days ago who does event production. And I remembered I had met somebody before who has a networking group for event production. And I remembered her because she went to the same school as my youngest daughter many years prior. And I looked up Cornell and it didn't show up. But then I remembered it wasn't Cornell, it was LaGuardia. And so I did a search on LaGuardia. And sure enough, on July 13th, 2021, I met with, where is she? One note was found. Aaron Chapman. Usually, here she is. It usually highlights it in yellow. For some reason, it didn't. And I was able to make that introduction. So you can't do that with paper notes. I don't know, something seems to have changed. It would normally highlight the LaGuardia. Here, LaGuardia, right? Now, LaGuardia is an unusual word, right? If I put university, that wouldn't help much. But just to give you a sense of the power of something like this, it's something you might want to consider. And now also we're in Zoom, you can take notes, right, while you're talking to somebody. And it's not as, distracting. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing there. I'm going to go back to gallery mode. Anybody want to share anything about successes in the network or recent successes? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So, I think I've been constantly, singing the same tune pretty much about TRN. The TRN is amazing. It's been really awesome for me from two standpoints. One, I've picked up a lot of business from here. And two, I've found great people. So for case in point, so in fact, Jason Cement and Victor Lee, both of who are members of TRN and have been and continue to be for, the longest time. I kind of like formed great friendships with them. I mean, yes, I knew Victor Lee earlier from Dynamite Networking Group, but that being said, we can sort of like reconnected because of TRN, and they are on Lilly Launch Tools Advisory Board and provide like great value there as our board of advisors. So it just goes to show that when you meet the right people and when you jive with certain people, obviously, based on like personality types and stuff, it can have like tremendous results. And I just want everyone to know that like there is one commonality that links all of us is that I think we're all givers, we're all connectors, and we're all altruistic to a degree. And I think that is the one thing that connects all of us. And that's, I think, the draw of TRN, or rather the people that remain in TRN, share those attributes and share those values. So I think that's something that is perhaps isn't spoken as much. And I think TRN is just amazing. And I think if you put in as much effort into TRN as you do with some of the other places, you'll then reap the rewards. And you kind of just want to put in the effort, and it's not just one conversation, it's ongoing conversations.
Oh, yeah.
It is like friendship, right? I mean, you don't make friends just with a one and done, right? You kind of have repeated conversations, that repeat meetings either affirm or reaffirm your initial impression, and then you kind of just take it from there.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that plug. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I probably said, I know I said this before, but this group has a built-in paradox, or like an attrition factor, because the connections are genuine and they're good, and then they end up resulting in relationships and business, and we don't have time to log in to TRN. So the group gets progressively smaller for that. The meetings get smaller when people succeed. So I don't know if there's a solution to that dilemma, but
well, I have, first of all, that is true. The group that I ran in New York, the marketing network, we definitely had people who left because they grew and were successful, and no longer, relied on, networking in this format to generate business. We've also, there's certainly a big attrition associated with the, people having to pay in the end of the trial. But people who invest a little bit feel more committed, which is a good thing, I believe. But I am also looking to bring guests in, so that's always helpful to bring guests. Spread the word, but also looking for people to start chapters, whether they be a local chapter, an industry-based chapter, or some other, it could be, like the pharma chapter, or a 60-plus-year-old white bald men chapter, whatever. Because I believe that adds to the cohesiveness at a different level, because you also get to define who's in your chapter. And my give with respect to that is providing the infrastructure, and also the chapter head gets a free membership to the Trusted Referral Network, because there is work involved. But I'd be happy to talk to anybody about doing that. And, typically, I think the best way to do it is meet twice a month, maybe once in person if you're local, maybe twice in person. Could be at a restaurant, at a bar, whatever. I would also recommend, doesn't have to be done this way, that you have a category exclusivity, so that, if John were to start a chapter, he could be the only video person or the only ghostwriter, or both. There aren't a lot of ghostwriters that find themselves in marketing space, so I would probably grab the video one, and by default have the ghostwriting one. But that's where, and I want to provide the infrastructure and also the umbrella organization of the Trusted Referral Network as a national organization that gives people access to a broader group of folks. So if anybody is interested in potentially starting a chapter, I'm there to help them do that.
So, Michael,
we could also do a nifty commercial, because your rate is so low. We could say to marketers, for only $1 a day, you can meet other lonely marketers who are forward thinking, and you can adopt create a lifelong partnership. Do a really schmaltzy ad for only $1 a day.
John, you have to have In the Arms of the Angel playing in the background.
Of course. No, I had that running.
Obligatory, making me cry and donate money.
I'm a dad joke addict, and so yes, that track was running in my head when I thought of that stupid comment.
You do the commercial, I'll sing in the background. I got to roll. I apologize. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it is top of the hour. Thank you all so much.
Thanks,
really
everybody.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you, Lynn, for the presentation. Learned a lot about your business. Take care.
Will do.
Thank you all. Bye.
Cheers, everybody.